Okay, welcome to today's battle report. Today Paul and I are practicing for a tournament we're going to be playing next month at 40k, which is a shop in Colchester. It's a 2,000 point event where you bring 2 players along and each of them brings a 1,000 point army. Now Paul and I today are playing each other and our allies who we're taking to the tournament aren't with us, so we've had to cobble together their armies that they'll be using out of spare models we've got, so I apologise for a couple of the proxies. I'm going to go through the army I shall be playing with Chris. So first of all, Chris's army, when he brings it, will be thus. He has got a Lord Commissar with a Power Fist, a platoon command squad, they've got 3 grenade launchers, couldn't quite get the 5 points in the army to get the 4th grenade launcher, we'll see if we can find them from somewhere. We have 3 normal guardsman squads, each with a flamer, they're quite likely to blob up. We have a veteran squad with 3 melter guns, pretty common unit. We have a Lemon Rust Demolisher. Again, I'm using my looted tank. One of these days I will buy some Lemon Russes soon. I'm also using this guy as a Lemon Rust Eradicator, which has loads of heavy bolters on it. We have 2 Vendettas. You can see I'm somehow getting through my painting, but still not particularly quickly. They're just standard Vendettas. And then we move on to the Space Marines I'll be bringing. These are Blood Angels. I am being led by a Librarian. We've already drawn his psychic powers. He has got Misfortune and Prescience, a pretty good selection. For troops I have a Scout Squad, they've got camo cloaks, missile launcher, sniper rifles. I also have an Assault Squad, they've got a couple of melter guns, the Sergeant has no extra special weapons though. We have an Apothecary, he's got a power sword and a jump pack. We've got some Tactical Terminators, they are just armed with a Cyclone missile launcher. We've got 5 Devastators, 4 of them with missile launchers. An attack bike with a multi-melter. And hiding at the back there, we have a Whirlwind. That's 2,000 points all told.
Okay, so I am also confusingly playing with Chris, but it's a more different Chris. Unfortunately, I don't have his gorgeous looking Deathwing army with me. But at the tournament we'll be playing with Belial, obviously. And then we've got 3 units of Terminators, which are troops choices. So this one has 2 Thunderhammer Storm Shields, a Cyclone Missile Launcher and 2 Stormbolter guys, one of whom's got a Chain Fist. This squad is rather inappropriately dressed. They've actually all got Thunderhammer Storm Shields and that Assault Cannon is actually a Cyclone Missile Launcher. This squad is also all armed with Thunderhammer Storm Shields and has a Cyclone Missile Launcher. And then the Deathwing are rounded out by 2 Ravenwing land speeders with Typhoon missile launchers and with Cyclone. No, with Typhoon missile launchers and multi-melters. Yes, completely different weapon, honestly. I am bringing Codex Space Marines using my Deathwatch models. I need to paint up this Vulcan, who'll be leading the army. And then we have 2 units of Tactical Marines in Rhinos, and one of them has a combi melter, a flamer and a multi-melter. The other just has a flamer and a multi-melter. We've got a Dreadnought with double twin-linked autocannons, a Vindicator, and I'm trying out a Storm Talon with twin-linked las cannons.
Okay, so this is our table set up for the day. I'll go through it and show you our objectives and stuff. Today we're playing the Scouring, which involves 6 objectives, each worth different points, and fast attack units can score. So over this side we can see we've already set up our models. This bastion is a dilapidated bastion, so just a terrain piece really. This is Paul's army set up over here. He's got a couple of land speeders, tactical squad in a Rhino, and then a large plethora of Terminators broken up by a Vindicator in the middle. Another Rhino at the end, and yes, you guessed it, some more Terminators. Over on his side of the board, he has 1 objective here, which is worth 4 points. 1 objective over here, which is worth 3 points. 1 objective worth there, which is worth, I can't remember how many points.
2 points.
2 points for that one there. Then we come over to this side of the table, you can see we're playing Hammer and Anvil. I have got my Demolisher set up there with a cheeky attack bike hiding behind it. The Scouts have claimed over here behind a nice barricade wall, and they are guarding a 2-point objective. In the centre I have a platoon command squad, they're guarding a 3-point objective. I've got my Terminators there with the Librarian attached to them, and then the large blob squad straight in front there with the Commissar attached. We've got the Devastators up on the hill, the Eradicator stand-in sitting down there, and the Whirlwind hiding behind the hill next to the 1-point objective. So Paul has beaten me in the old random objectives things. He has 2 more points than me, or is it 3 more points than me, I think, actually. So I will have to go to him at some point. But I do have first turn. Are you going to try and steal the initiative, Paul?
Certainly am.
Okie dokie, let's see if you can do it. It always happens on the camera, so...
Ooh,
I didn't lose the initiative this game. Excellent. Okay, so Imperial Guard, Blood Angel, turn 1. We opened up with our large wall of fire. We cast Prescience on the big blob squad, and then first rank fire, second rank fired it, and managed to kill a single Terminator. Actually, on average, that's probably about right, so wasn't too bad. Then we fired various other things, trying to take out the rhinos and the land speeders. We managed to pick a hull point on this one and stun it for the turn by firing at it with the multi-melter from this guy. Oh no, sorry, it was the missile launch from the scout over there. The multi-melter from that guy missed. The demolisher cannon fired from this and took out the Vindicator, which was excellent. The explosion also took out one of the Terminators, so an excellent shot from the demolisher. The Devastator squad up on the hill fired down at the rhino over here. I really wanted to crack one of the rhinos open before I fired my large blasts, but couldn't quite do it. I've managed to immobilise that one, which is reasonable. Then we fired the Eradicator at Belial's squad over here, or Vulcan's squad even. Managed to take off another Terminator. Other than that, firing didn't do a whole lot. I think, what did we kill this turn? We killed 3 Terminators and a Vindicator, and did a couple of shaken stuns and immobilised type things. So overall, pretty average turn.
End of Deathwing and Deathwatch turn 1. Fairly dismal turn for shooting. This land speeder snuck forward and had some shots at the attack bike, and this one took some snapshots at the attack bike, but we didn't manage to do anything to it. These Terminators ran forwards, the Rhino moved forwards and took out a Imperial Guardsman. The Dreadnought took some shots up at the Devastators on the hill, but didn't manage to get through their armour. The tactical squad out of here leapt out, combat squadding. The multi-melters racing towards the bunker, and the others moving forward shooting their bolters managed to kill a guy, an Imperial Guardsman. Belial and his Terminators ran forward as well. We're really looking forward to trying to get into assault, mostly to protect ourselves from firing as much as anything else. And this tactical squad, this Terminator squad moved forward, also shooting storm bolters. In total, all I managed to do this turn was kill 6 Imperial Guardsmen, which is fairly dismal, but really there wasn't any appropriate targets for the weapons that we've got in this army, which is lots of missiles. You know, they don't do anything against the Lehman Russ, so everything else is infantry. So that's the end of our turn 1.
So it's Imperial Guard turn 2. As you can see by the look of the table, the 2 Vendettas have turned up. And over on the back over there, the Blood Angels also arrived, thanks to their Descent of Angel reroll. So we moved up the table with those 2. This one dropped off its veteran squad, because I didn't want it to get blown up out of the air with it still on board. So they did the old grab shoots onto the ground, luckily rolled a hit, so none of them died in the resulting carnage at the bottom. We fired the rest of our units, as you'd expect, in a gun line. So starting over here, I fired the Demolisher Cannon at a group of Terminators there, but it scattered well off target and didn't kill any. But the Heavy Bolter on the front did manage to wipe one out, which is quite useful. Over here, the attack bike screamed forwards, unfortunately missed again with its multi-melter, and then it went into close combat in the assault phase, but failed to hurt this land speeder. One shot from the Devastators over there did manage to knock off the missile launchers from the side of it, so it has been slightly wounded. There was another land speeder back here, which was picked off by this Vendetta here, making it blow up. The scouts here, they shot at this Terminator squad, didn't kill anything unfortunately. The Blob squad, they again had Prescience and first rank fire, second rank fire. They moved forward, so they were within rapid fire range and opened fire on Belial's squad. Paul was not very good with his saving throws, failing 5 saving throws, wiping out the entire squad and putting 2 wounds on Belial. That was quite nice. The Terminators here attempted to finish Belial off, got about 8 wounds through to him, but unfortunately his 2-up armour worked against those. The Eradicator here fired at the tactical squad that was there, managing to wipe out 3 of them. Oh, we need a leadership check on that tactical squad. Here we go,
so on camera leadership. There, so it's leadership 9, leadership 8.
Ah, darn. This Vendetta here, it fired down at these Terminators, it didn't hurt any of them, but the Whirlwind, using its barrage, did a sneaky sniper shot, landing directly on the Cyclone, causing a couple of wounds, and he failed to save, so I've sniped the Cyclone out of that squad. What else fired? These things here shot at some Terminators but failed to wound them. The Blood Angels that arrived with pinpoint accuracy on the back of the table dropped 2 melter guns within 6 inches of the Dreadnought and blew it up from behind, which is quite useful. So overall, an excellent shooting turn. Let's see what Paul can do in response.
Deathwatch Deathwing turn 2. Okay, so in the movement phase, this Rhino reversed up and let out, oh sorry, before it reversed up, it let out this combat squad with a multi-melter who have run behind the Bastion for cover. It then reversed up and the other squad with a Flamer leapt out. And the remainders of this combat squad, which also included a Flamer, moved back over here. So we put quite a lot of hits onto this unit, but we only managed to do 1 casualty. Luckily, it was a melter gun guy. The star of this turn was this land speeder, which jumped over the attack bike and put a multi-melter shot into the Lehman Russ.
Leadership for these guys.
Oh yeah. The explosion also killed some of these infantry veterans. They're off. Oh, they're running anyway. How far do they run? They're not off. They're
6 inches.
6 inches. This multi-melter team jumped into the Bastion. They're actually inside it, but we put them on the roof so you can see the models. And they took a cheeky multi-melter shot at this Vendetta. The Vendetta decided to jink, but then we didn't damage the armour anyway. The Storm Talon came screaming on the board and took some shots over at this Vendetta. It managed to hit with all of its assault cannons, but the last cannon unfortunately missed, so it didn't jink and it didn't get damaged. The remaining Terminators, Belial joined Vulcan's squad, and this Terminator squad bravely charged the Imperial Guard squad, taking all of the punishing triple flamer 50-odd las guns shot. As you can see, they're quite heavily depleted as a result, but that allowed this squad to charge in unmolested from Overwatch. Overall, we've started whittling their numbers down. I think they're probably about half dead, but the Commissar and the Librarian are about to join in the combat. So that's the end of us at the end of turn 2.
Okay, it was Imperial Guard Blood Angels turn 3. So we started off obviously with a bit of shooting. We fired our grenade launchers from down here, took out the land speeder that was over there and had just blown up my poor Lemon Russ. The 2 Valkyries, or Vendettas even, moved in on a pincer formation on the Storm Pigeon. The first one shot, took a whole point off, and the second one, even though it jinked last turn, it snap fired and managed to get a penetrating hit, blowing it up. You can see its crashed wreckage there on the floor. The multi-melter attack bike moved around the corner and shot over at the Rhino, but continued its rolling of 2s, so the 3rd miss in a row from it. The assault squad over here, they moved in and assaulted the tactical squad, taking out 4 of them. The sergeants are in close combat at the moment in a challenge, that's ongoing. There were 2 Marines over here I took out with fire from the Devastators over in the corner. Combined fire from that one and the Whirlwind over there. Shot at these behind here, managed to get a scatter onto them in one case. Didn't deal any damage though. Then we moved to the large close combat. My Terminator squad decided to go and aid in the combat, and my Librarian had cast the reroll past saves on Belial and Vulcan's squad. The Librarian over there managed to kill the Terminator left from that squad, and over here my Terminators managed to wipe out all of Paul's Terminators, including Belial and Vulcan with an instant death wound. The only people left in combat are one of Paul's Thunderhammer Storm Shield Sergeants and one of my Imperial Guard Sergeants. Yes, he survived the round of combat, so it's pretty much over there as well. At this point, Paul has decided to call it a day because we're going to go and play some Netrunner.
I've got 2 halves of a tactical squad and a Rhino. So
yes, all that's left is these 2 tactical squads, the Rhino, and a couple of units in combat, and I've still got a horrendous amount of firepower on the table. So, Paul, what do you think of the armies in preparation for tournament?
Well, your armies seem fantastic.
It is just the firepower base, and I think the fact that we were playing the short table edge game does aid firepower armies.
I think I made a bit of a blunder choosing to go second. It's normally really good to go second in objective games, but
yeah, 6 objectives.
This much firepower, having a chance to try and deal with some of that before it starts shooting at you and to close the gap between you would have been well worth. You know, going second's only helpful on turn 5, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
So
and it's turn 3.
That was a big mistake. And yeah, your stuff's just brutal if you just keep.
Yeah,
shooting.
when Chris and I made the army up, we made up a firepower army with a bit of mobility, and
like
it does have so much firepower.
I like the Terminators as a counter-attack squad. That seems very good.
Yeah, I like them a lot. It's really powerful close combat now.
I think your librarian got the 2 best powers from the
yeah,
squad,
that was
so
really useful.
nice.
I mean, prescience on that large blob squad. When you charged in, I was re-rolling I re-rolled all my shots in my shooting phase, then all my Overwatch shots, and then all my close combat hits. And my Warlord power gave me counter attacks, so I got more attacks then. So it was just really good.
You were saying earlier you didn't have enough APT, but I think once the Vendettas come on, it's actually okay. It's because especially the Demon Russ is very hardy, and the Vendettas are very hardy because they're flyers.
Yeah, I was really pleased by, again, it was designed that way, but the fact that we didn't have any weak vehicles on the table, other than, obviously I managed to hide the Whirlwind, but other than that, you didn't have anything to fire missiles at?
Yeah, so my Cyclone missiles were useless really. I was firing frags into a very well spaced blob squad, so it didn't really do very much. Over on my side of the table, I'm not very happy with the army, but I'm not quite sure what we'll be doing differently, to be honest.
It's very hard. The way the tournament works is you've obviously got 2 1,000 point armies, but each 1,000 point army has to be a complete army, and it's very hard to fit 2 troop choices that are decent into a 1,000 point Space Marine army. And I've chosen the Scout squad, who, let's face it, did absolutely nothing this game.
Yeah, I don't want to take scouts. I think I've basically got to spend 600 points on 2 troops
and an HQ.
And then I've just got not very many other points to play with.
Yeah, you need to get a bit of air defence in due to the fact that the Deathwing army really can't take any air defence. It can only take missiles.
So the Dreadnought and the Storm Talon were my attempts to do that.
Yeah.
And then I've got enough points left. Well, I felt like I didn't quite have enough points for a Vindicator, but I squeezed it in anyway by dropping combi weapons and things. Yeah, so I think the main question is what HQ do I use? I could either spend go for Vulcan, or I could save points by going for a cheap Librarian.
Yeah, how many melter guns do you have in your army?
Well, because I dropped one of the combi melters in order to fit everything into the list. I've only got 2. Let's see. In the tactical squad, in 2 tactical squads, I've got 2 multi melters, 2 flamers, and a combi melter. And that's it. Because I was thinking about putting a multi melter on the Dreadnought in order to put another Vulcan weapon.
But that's only 5 melter. I think possibly dropping Vulcan, because you don't need him for close combat. You've got all the Terminators.
Oh, and he himself has one as well.
Yeah.
So there's 8.
But you've got all the Terminators that do a very similar close combat job to Vulcan.
Yeah.
But if you did take a Librarian, where would he go? Because he can't fit inside the Rhinos with the things. It might be worth then. You might have enough points to upgrade one of the Rhinos to a Razorback, and then you'd have a sit-back squad, because you wouldn't need to take a multi-melt. You could take a las cannon maybe.
Yeah.
So slightly back to the drawing board. Oh well, folks, we may well have another practice game before the tournament. If not, look forward to the tournament report.